Today we will be discussing Burger King's latest commercial that is raising some questions.
Followed by a discussion on the latest court decision that limits certain women from competing in the Olympics.
And finally, we're bringing you the latest on the measles outbreak that has been plaguing Southern California. All this and more starting right now.
Hello and welcome to The Report, Cal State Fullerton's premier source for news, views, and info. I'm Leslie Duarte.
I'm Ryan Matthey.
And I'm Ashley Anslin. Before we get started with our first hot topic, we'd like to invite you to be a part of a discussion this semester. Click on the link in the caption of any of our report episodes to fill out a secure Google form with your opinion on any controversial issue that we've talked about now or in the past, as many of these issues are recurring and evolving. We also have a Twitter account at The Report CSUF, so expect polls, questions, and news updates.
On Sunday, a flight from Moscow heading to Murmansk had to make an emergency landing. Just 30 minutes after takeoff, according to numerous reports, the call was made after the plane flew through a bad weather and had been struck by lightning. It wasn't until the plane reached the runway when fire broke out. 41 people were killed, including one American.
The royal family has welcomed a new member. On Monday, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle welcomed their first son. He is the 7th in line to the British throne and the first multiracial baby in the British monarchy's recent history. For more on the royal baby excitement, we turn over to CNN correspondent Samuel Burke.
Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray!
The newest royal bundle of joy is finally here.
Meghan and myself had a baby boy early this morning, a very healthy boy.
Although Prince Harry says the latest member to join the British royal family was a bit overdue, the proud new father called the experience amazing.
It's been the most amazing experience I could ever possibly imagine. How any woman does what they do is beyond comprehension.
The prince says they're still deciding on a name for their 7-pound, 3-ounce baby, but there are no shortage of guesses.
Oh, it might be Charles.
What about a less traditional name?
Eric.
No matter what name they choose, this royal baby is 7th in line for the throne. But for now, the new parents are just happy to spend time as a new family of 3.
As every father and parent would ever say, you know, your baby is absolutely amazing, but this little thing is absolutely to die for, so I'm just over the moon.
On Wednesday, the Court of Arbitration of Sports, better known as the CSA, had made a ruling stating that women who naturally produce high levels of testosterone must now take medication that will lower their levels to compete in certain events. The CSA is in charge of settling any type of disputes that may arise within international sports. The ruling came after controversies surrounded South African runner Caster Semenya, who is thought to have an intersex condition known as hyperandrogenism. Hyperandrogenism means that her body may produce male sex hormones that include testosterone. The court argues that this heightened level of naturally produced testosterone is giving certain female athletes an advantage in the sports. Others argue that this is simply discriminatory and irrational. Regardless, the court has already made their decision. So I really thought about this story, and I feel like it's not a fair ruling because these women are naturally producing higher levels of testosterone. And I don't think that it's fair to make them take medication that is going to actually limit their bodies from doing what they do naturally.
And not to mention that medication is also very harmful for the patients.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they? Yeah, why would you want that? Especially for, you know, the people who go into the Olympics, we're praising them for being like above normal, above average, right? This person, above normal, above average. We should be praising this person, and it's the Olympics. The whole point of the Olympics is to show how fit you are, to show everything that you can do physically.
Absolutely.
So what's the point? Like, obviously, yes, I see the flip side of it. I understand, like, it's something that not everybody has, so it's something that's, you know, going to put you on edge. But at the same time, like, you take what you have, you use it to your advantage. That's how life works. That's how people get where they are in life.
Absolutely. I think what you're leading on to is saying that she has supernatural powers, as an Olympian gold medal should. And, you know, what I don't understand is how is a woman athlete supposed to look like? what is the definition? How do you want women to be defined as athletic, as super powerful, and absolutely talented? I mean, she deserves every gold medal she's gotten. And I really like her quote. Her response was really short, sincere, and quick to the point. She said, quote, "For a decade, the IAAF has tried to slow me down, but this has actually made me stronger." That's by Caster Semenya. And I mean, I just love her response to this. Go girl, like, you deserve every gold medal. This is such a disappointment in the court ruling, and I hope they can figure it out. I mean, it's so sad. What do you guys think?
I'm honestly just as disappointed as you are. I think in such a time like this where we're really fighting for women's equality, that this is something where we're like, we have this dynamic of the Olympics where women can work so hard, and obviously men as well, but women aren't seen as athletes. When you think of athletes, you think of the perfect athlete as a really strong male, and females are working so hard to advance in their sports and their passions, and this is something where it's like, you're a woman working for this, but if you have a slighter advantage, you're looked down upon. And this really draws back that curtain of progression. And I think that really does suck.
Of course. I don't know if you guys have been seeing, I've been following this story on Twitter, and a lot of people on Twitter have a lot to say about it. Specifically, people are pointing out Michael Phelps, obviously, we all know him, great swimmer. He physically produces half the lactic acid of an average man does. He's still competing. He's still doing the things that he is good at because, again, even though he's advantaged physically, biologically, it's something that he's able to use to his advantage. And, you know, if, you know, you're going to be patriotic about it, he's representing America in the sense. And so, like, I don't understand why, you know, obviously, I don't think, was this runner an American Olympian? I don't think so.
Let me verify that, but I believe South African.
So then, even then, so what? Is this a plan to, like, take out competition? Is this a plan to, you know, I don't know, just like you were saying earlier about how we're trying to limit women's sort of roles in being an Olympic athlete? It doesn't make sense, and it really seems like this is blatantly misogynistic, honestly.
I mean, when do you hear about men having these debates about their supernatural abilities? You know, it's really disappointing, and when I saw this, I just thought back of Serena Williams and her Nike commercial. That empowerment commercial was just so touching. And I hope that even though this ruling is so disappointing, that young girls can look up to amazing athletes like Caster Semenya and Serena Williams and so many other women athletes that are really, really fighting and making a change for the sports industry.
Absolutely. Hopefully we'll see like this gets changed a little bit later, right?
Absolutely. The number of measles cases continues to rise through the United States. Some of the most recent outbreaks have occurred right here in Orange County. The outbreaks have occurred in public places such as movie theaters and college campuses. Officials are urging those who have been exposed to those areas to be wary of the measles symptoms. Here is CNN correspondent Mary Malone with more information on these outbreaks and what symptoms to look for.
The number of measles cases in the United States is on the rise, again. New numbers out Monday from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reveal 60 more people infected with the deadly disease, putting the total number of cases at 764. That's the highest number in 25 years. 23 states have reported at least one case of measles this year. Health officials blame misinformation about vaccinations for the current rise in cases and urge people to get vaccinated. The CDC recommends 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. The first when babies are between 12 and 15 months old. The second when kids are between 4 and 6. If you were born in 1957 or after, and you've never gotten measles or the MMR vaccine, you should get at least 1 dose of the vaccine. Those born before 1957 don't need to be vaccinated because health officials assume you either had measles or are immune to the virus. Symptoms of measles include a fever, cough, runny nose, red eyes, and a sore throat. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
In honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, Burger King has come out with their new Real Meals. These meals come along with a commercial which aims to help people understand that no one is happy all the time, and that's okay. Seen by many as a stab to poke fun at McDonald's Happy Meals, Burger King's Real Meals come in 5 different mood themes: pissed meals, yes meals, DGAF meals, salty meals, and blue meals. Some have commended Burger King's latest campaign, stating they're helping raise awareness around mental illnesses, and others have actually scrutinized them for downplaying mental health issues and attempting to profit off the subject. And the latter half of what I just said, I totally agree. I think it's so weird when companies, like for-profit companies, take a stance for something that really it affects so many people, and for you to use it to your advantage to sell burgers, like, it doesn't make sense. And like, you know what, maybe there is. I would hope that there's someone up there in, you know, Burger King corporate office who is saying, like, we really want to take a stance and we really want to affect change. That's not the way to do it. Doing something like this, selling a burger that is based off your depression, your anxiety, that's not something that is going to raise awareness for anything. If anything, it's just it makes it look like a joke.
Yeah. What do you think, Aisling?
When I first read about this, I'm going to be really honest, I kind of was like, oh, I think that's kind of cool. But I see where you're coming from, where you're like, they're making a profit off it. And I didn't really think about it like that. And I get why that would be upsetting. But I do think that it is kind of cool that they are shedding light on this somehow. I also think that mental health is such a hard thing to take a stance on as a company, especially something that's like a fast food chain. Like, how do you properly go about publicly being like, we support Mental Health Awareness Month and this, and this, you know? You can donate money to an organization, but is that doing enough by saying, we donated lots of money to this foundation to support mental health? Is that enough? Like, this is a month-long thing, you know? Actually, it should be a year-round thing, but the month is celebrated, you know, once a year. And I think that it is cool that they're doing this, but I think that making it about a meal and making a profit off it isn't necessarily the right way now that I like think about it and hear your side.
Yeah, I can see both sides to what you're saying. First, I was like, okay, here's another corporation, for-profit corporation trying to make money off of something very serious, but at the same time, they are in some way bringing awareness to this. I just wish that they had more diversity in upper executive levels of corporations like McDonald's, Adidas, Nike, all these corporations that always try to do something good and then end up messing it all up. Because you need diversity, you need people who are experts in the field to say the way you're going about doing this thing isn't going to translate well. And I think people are rightfully upset at the Burger King Corporation to, you know, take this angle at it. It's, at the end of the day, they're doing this because it's going to make them money.
Yeah, and it brings up this more like ethical question of, should big for-profit companies be making stances like this? Because are you ethically able to say, I support this, while saying you support this, you're making money off it? It doesn't make sense. And it's so hard when people are they're dying weekly, almost daily from it. And it's just, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. I would love if they were to, again, with the whole like donating money thing, love that. Supporting other companies or charities who are actually doing real work, who don't have, you know, that awkward like ethnical dilemma to it, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I can kind of see them having more of an impact and a different campaign in a different way, but this is just not the way to go. And people are, okay, it's right for them to be upset about this.
Right. I wish that more for-profit companies would try to take a stance, but go about it in a different way, in a more impactful way.
Yeah.
I don't think making a profit is the right way to go about it.
It's not.
No.
It's definitely not.
But in a lot lighter news, President Barack Obama received his very own road on Sunday. Los Angeles renamed a section of the road Obama Boulevard. This name change was to show appreciation for the 44th President of the United States. The historic moment was celebrated with a day-long ceremony that ended in the unveiling of the renamed street. It stretches almost 4 miles long between Culver City and Mid-City. The road intersects Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and fits well on the residential boulevard, as it also sits next to other streets commemorating U.S. presidents such as Washington, Adams, and Jefferson.
Facebook has banned 7 users, citing they violate their policies against dangerous individuals and organizations. The users include far-right conspiracy theorist Alex Jones and his media outlet InfoWars, which has been banned from Facebook before. Instagram is owned by Facebook, and the users will also be banned from that site as well. Although all throughout Friday night and Saturday morning, President Trump sent dozens of tweets criticizing censorship, saying, quote, "It is getting worse and worse for conservative media outlets on social media," end quote. What do you guys think about this story?
Okay, I'm going to say this, and I'm openly saying it because this is my personal experience. Okay. Far right conservatives, in my personal experience on the internet and even in person, love to provoke the left. They love creating this image that the left is violent, that we are harassing, and like, God have you. One of like these InfoWars love to do this as well. This is the same site that Caitlin Bennett works for, right? We talked about her a few weeks ago. Provoking, very, very provoking, and they love to play the victim, so I'm not shocked. However, if they are actually violating terms and conditions and they are being racist, threatening, actually have the ability to cause harm, ban them. But free speech is free speech, and if they are just putting their opinions on the internet, I don't think that they should be banned.
Yeah, and that's what I think is like so just like contradicting of like what he's saying or what he tweeted saying like it's getting harder and harder to be a conservative. It's not harder to be a conservative. It's harder to be like an awful person, basically. Like just because you are conservative doesn't mean that you are, you know, racist or misogynistic or anything. It's when you take that stance and you use it to project these voices of hate and discrimination. And it's like, it's not hard to be a conservative. It's hard to be a bad person, especially in this day and age where we're so like aware and so conscious of the different sort of injustices that are happening in our society now on a mainstream level. Like we're not going to be dealing with this anymore. This is not something that any sort of company I feel like is going to be doing.
Yeah. I want to highlight what you said just there where you're saying it's not hard to be a conservative, it's hard to be a bad person. You can be as conservative as you want. I have friends that are very conservative that are really great people, but when you take those stances and you project them and say nasty things and say, oh, it's so hard to be a conservative, but I'm racist and homophobic, like, don't talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to be careful with what I said about Alex Jones, but I think to a lot of the conservative community, Alex Jones is far, far, far away from that. I mean, this is a guy that said Sandy Hook incident was a hoax and that it was all fake. He said that 9/11 was also government produced. This is a man that takes his conspiracy theories and goes above and beyond, out of this world, far right guy. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with his InfoWars or with any of his shows or episodes, or if you watch it. I mean, 5 seconds into watching this guy and you know the type of person he is. And I'm just shocked because this man has over 1 million people on his site every day following him, quoting him. You see it in news sometimes that they quote him in like legit news medias, that they quote some of the things he's saying. This guy has conspiracy theories, everything about everything, and he's just I mean, Facebook doesn't need him to make money. They have over 2.5, or they have about 1.56 billion daily active users. They don't need his money. If you do violate their policies of violence, then I think it's their right to ban people. And I think we need to see more of that, because what this guy is saying, he's just really, really out there, and it's just hurting a lot of people, a lot of the information, and we're really having this blend between what is real news, what is fake news, and where do we draw that line. With that said, we have a right to have free speech, but if Facebook, this corporation, wants to limit who they want on their website, I think they can do that. It's free speech everywhere else, but I think Facebook, whether you like it or not, that's what they're doing.
Yeah. Kind of just like wrapping up on this note, two of these people who were banned, Loomer and Yiannapolis specifically, they're directing their fans to now go follow them on other sort of social media sites. Do it. Bye. We don't need you anymore. It's like, I wish that you guys weren't, collectively doing these things, but like, we don't need you in our public space anymore. Not a fan. And go somewhere else. That's it. So, well, anyways, now moving from some very awful news to now some little lighter news. We obviously know, if you have siblings, that we're prone to fighting with one another, but do you think that you would still be fighting them at 100 years old? Well, these twins actually in Arkansas just celebrated their 100th birthday. Here's CNN correspondent Rachel Turner with the twins.
Happy birthday. sitting side by side with smiles on their faces.
You tell me?
Happy birthday.
Oh, same to you.
Surrounded by their loved ones.
To me, I don't think you can find a nicer bunch of people.
At Lone Oak Missionary Baptist Church in Morrilton.
And I thank them for all they've done for us here.
George and James Morrow, celebrating 100 years of life.
I feel just as good as I did 25 years ago.
The twins were born in 1919.
I'd rather live back when I was a kid just to live today.
And a secret to looking young.
Get out and be honest and truthful.
And living a long life is simple.
Not be afraid to work and leave the booze and the wild women off.
A sense of humor also goes a long way. And while age is just a number, the twins still enjoy the simple things in life.
I like to raise a garden. I like to see stuff grow.
The pair also shared advice for the younger generation.
Instead of looking at these phones and this, to learn something and how to do something.
And still remember what it was like growing up.
Yeah, we argued.
Holding on to a special bond, they say, will never be broken.
I think the good Lord has something to do with it.
If y'all did not know or were aware, this is the last episode of the report this season. Leslie, this has been your home for so many seasons. Final thoughts, final words.
Oh my gosh, wow. I am just so incredibly grateful to the crew, to all the producers, every host that has been on the chairs. I am so grateful for the opportunity. It has been a beautiful experience. I can't believe this has been my home for the last few seasons. I love it. I loved working with you guys this year. And I mean, it's surreal. Like, this is it. I'm graduating, and it's been such a beautiful growth to see me on this show for the last few seasons. And I'm just so grateful, because without the crew, I wouldn't be here. I love you guys. I'm so grateful.
Aisling, one season down, but it only took one season.
Yes.
I honestly am
girl.
so thankful that I was able to be here, and thank you everybody for welcoming me with open arms and letting me be a part of the team. And thanks, Jeffrey, for emailing me and giving me a shot at this. I love you, and I'm so glad that I was able to spend my last semester filming this show.
Of course,
Yeah,
of
thank
course.
you.
Well, bye. Have a good life, both of you. It's so great. I'll still be here. I'm not going anywhere. Sorry, I can't get rid of me that easy.
Can't wait to watch you grow.
Can't. Right. That's gonna happen, right? Again, final shout out to the crew. Y'all make us look very pretty and make us look not as awkward as we actually are in real life. So thank you to all of you. We appreciate you so much.
And for putting up with all of our corny jokes.
Specifically Aisling's, absolutely. And on that note, we are now done with the report this season. Have a great weekend, everybody, and stay tuned for more news, views, and info. I'm Ryan Matthey.
I'm Leslie Duarte.
And I'm Aisling Anslin. For the last time, stay fresh, Fullerton.
It's been a long day without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.